can we talk about berries a little bit more? I have the smoothie study.
Yes.
A lot of people sent me this.
I'm going to
Bananas versus berries.
Yeah, I'm keen to hear that. I'm trying to find this video, which I should have prepared earlier. I know.
While you're finding that video,
yeah, can you get
I'll give people a summary.
wheels going? Yeah, let's hear it.
So the banana blueberry smoothie study. I had a lot of people sending me a study during the weeks, which was a collaborative effort from researchers at the University of California and the University of Reading. It looks like Reading. I believe it's Reading.
Okay.
I have been there. I have a funny story. Save that for
Off air?
off air.
Okay.
So this study was looking at a group of polyphenols called flavanols that are in foods, particularly in fruits and vegetables, really rich in berries and apples and pears, but also in cocoa and certain teas. And we know that they seem to be very protective for cardiovascular health and also for cognition. There's been a bunch of different research sort of leading up to this study that suggested that the combination of foods that we eat might affect the absorption of these polyphenols in our meal. So they could be foods interacting with each other, leading to reduced bioavailability.
Right. And we know that happens with many nutrients. Right.
So this group of researchers were particularly interested in an enzyme called polyphenol oxidase, PPO. We'll shorten that too. And it's known that PPO reduces the bioavailability of flavanols. And PPO is in different fruits and vegetables in varying amounts, but it's very rich in bananas. Also, I have a table here. It's not just bananas. We might come back to this. It's also very rich in beet greens, apples, and pears.
Okay.
They're sort of like the top 4 of the foods that they looked at. Because afterwards they went through and just looked at PPO activity in a bunch of different foods for interest's sake. So they were looking at these 3 different contexts. There was a bunch of different little studies within this. It wasn't just one. But broadly speaking, they had one group who were given a flavanol supplement, straight up supplement. So there's no polyphenol oxidase at all. The next group was given a banana smoothie. And the third group was given a blueberry smoothie. They matched the flavanol content in all 3 contexts.
Yep.
Because there's less flavanols naturally in banana than berries.
Right.
So the flavanol content was consistent across the 3 groups. What was different in the 3 groups was the polyphenol oxidase.
Yep.
So there was the most PPO was in the banana smoothie, and then there was a little bit in the blueberry smoothie, not a lot because there's not a lot of polyphenol oxidase in blueberries, and then there was none in the supplement group. And so they would have the smoothie or the supplement, and then afterwards they were looking at the plasma, so blood concentration of flavanols. And what they noticed was the supplement and the blueberries significantly increased the flavanol concentration, almost to the same degree. So the little bit amount of PPO in blueberries didn't have much effect on bioavailability of the flavanols in the blueberries. In the banana smoothie, because bananas are so rich in polyphenol oxidase, which seems to break down these flavanols. The concentration, and this has been misreported, there are some sites I've seen that have suggested that flavanol concentration went down in the banana smoothie arm. It didn't. It went up. It was just 84 or 87, somewhere in the 80s % lower increase than in the supplement or in the blueberry smoothie arms of the study. So this raises some interesting questions as to what are the take-home points here? Do we need to make smoothies that
separate food groups,
do not have bananas because the bananas are potentially reducing the bioavailability of these flavanol polyphenols.
Yeah.
And the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics in USA recommends about 400 to 600 milligrams of flavanols per day. That's based off all of this research looking at cardiovascular health and cognition. But does it matter how you're getting that 400 to 600 milligrams of flavanols?
Right.
Because really, how much of those are you absorbing? It could be very different from person to person. Yeah. I think a lot of people have seen this study and are freaking out and are potentially it could trigger orthorexia and we could be getting into the weeds here. This is going to be most important for someone who has an unhealthy diet that's not eating a lot of fruit.
Right.
But if you're eating a whole food plant-based or close to that and you're getting so many flavanols throughout the day above what the average person's getting, this is probably of far less concern for you. But if you wanted to really try and maximize the flavanol absorption, then
avoid those foods that you mentioned before if you're pairing them with flavanol-rich foods.
Right. So what you might want to do, I wrote down some potential swaps for people to consider here. Quick one, folks. I get asked all the time about buying supplements and getting blood tests. The good news is I've created comprehensive and completely free guides for both. Simply head over to my website, theproof.com, to download them. That's theproof.com. Okay, let's get back to the episode. So it was beet greens and bananas that are the two that are the most rich in polyphenol oxidase.
Yep.
So if you were wanting to sort of tinker with a few changes to your morning smoothie so that you absorb more of the polyphenols in the berries that you're putting in there, you might swap banana for mango. That's a pretty good swap. Or it could be for pineapple or orange. Both of those were really low in PPO. And cucumber. Frozen cucumber is another good one that you can add into smoothies. But I think mango or pineapple is a pretty good alternative to
very sweet
to banana.
Yeah.
And for the green side of things, instead of using beet greens, you could swap that for kale or spirulina. They were two other kind of greens that they looked at the PPO content of, and they were super low.
Right.
Again, centenarians aren't thinking about this stuff, so we run the risk here of making things way too complicated. And if you look on TikTok right now, it's like these kind of big fear
mongering
type posts about you've been doing it wrong.
Welcome
Don't
to
put
TikTok,
bananas in your smoothies.
Not unique to smoothies.
Right.
They do this with everything. Not that I'm on it. I've never even signed on, but I know what that sort of content is. It's just
hyperbole.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
You're always doing something wrong. You're always doing it the opposite of how you should be, and they tell you this, it should be that. It's all...
The word that I was looking for was sensationalized.
Yes.
So the findings of this study are interesting.
Yeah.
But one thing that I'll flag here is these guys looked at one interaction of one compound.
Right.
There's probably so many interactions that we're unaware of.
Yeah.
And if we were to run a study on absolutely everything...
Yeah.
Imagine trying to create your meals.
Yeah.
I'm not putting too much kind of stock into this study.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting.
If you want to play around with your smoothies and you are, you enjoy mango, you want to swap banana for mango, then go for it. It's not going to do any harm. But there are, bananas are healthy.
Right.
They have some great micronutrients in them, like potassium.
Right.
And so they certainly have a place in a healthy diet.
Yeah, it depends what you're looking at, right? They're measuring one thing, you can paint it in one way, and you can paint it totally different.
And if you love bananas and they're getting you to have your smoothie and you're not going to enjoy it and therefore not have it, not worth it.
Silly,
disregard this stuff.
Can I ask you how many bananas were in the smoothie? So
I think it was
one banana?
I think it was one.
Okay, see if you can find that, because this is where it becomes like a practical takeaway. If you're having 4 bananas in your current smoothie, right, compared to if you're just having half a banana, I wonder if that's going to make a significant difference. Like the PPO in half a banana, surely, when it's combined with a massive serve of blueies, is going to be very different to if you're having 4 bananas, I'm sure. But yeah, see if you can dig that up, because I'd be interested to see how people can apply it to their actual smoothies when they have them in the morning. Like how many bananas should we be thinking about here? And what was the serving of blueberries as well?
To give you an idea, on a per 100-gram basis, blueberries have 270 times less PPO than banana.
Wow. Okay. And so you said flavanols. What was the word?
Flavanols.
Flavanols per day should be 400 to 600 what milligrams?
Milligrams.
And how many milligrams are in these smoothies based on these serves?
It was around 500 to 600.
Right. So what you're trying to say is you can get your daily dose of flavanols in this one smoothie if it's rich in blueies. But over the course of a day, you're probably going to be eating way more than 500 milligrams of flavanols if you're eating a high plant-based diet. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but this is where it gets really confusing because the recommendations to have 400 to 600 milligrams of flavanols are based off observational evidence. They're not even looking at what's absorbed.
Right.
So they're probably looking at people who are going out and just eating a whole mix of foods and not absorbing the full 400 to 600 milligrams.
Okay. Yeah. I see. Interesting. I'm not going to change my smoothie. I'm telling you now. I love a frozen banana in my smoothie with my blueberries. But unless I can prove that I have a deficiency in flavanols, I will consider changing the ingredients in my smoothie.
177 grams of ripe frozen bananas.
177 grams?
177 grams.
So that's specific. About 120 grams is a banana, roughly, in weight, from my memory.
Yeah,
am I
118.
Right?
That's pretty good going. So about 1.5.
The reason I know that is because when I was diagnosed with diabetes, I had to weigh out all my food for the first year to learn what does a food weigh, how many grams of carbs are in it, and I ate a lot of bananas, and so I've weighed plenty of bananas out. So yeah, they're having over one banana per smoothie, and that's adding a significant amount of PPO, right? And then what did you say it reduces the absorption by? 80-something%?
The concentration in plasma, the flavanol concentration, it was actually metabolites of flavanols. We don't need to go into the specific details of that, but it was 84% lower in the banana smoothie arm compared to the mixed smoothie and control, between 80 and 90%.
Mm-hmm. So are you going to amend your smoothies, or is this something that you just... It's an interesting takeaway, but probably not something to act on right now.
I tend to think over the course of a day that my total flavanol intake is off the charts.
Yeah, exactly.
That I would be absorbing more than enough.
Right.
And I love frozen banana.
Yeah.
But I also like mango, so I might play around with it. I do think, though, Michael Pollan, eat food, mostly plants, not too much.
Simple. So concise.
Sometimes we overcomplicate
100%.
things, and I know I brought this study to the pod today, but so many people had sent it to me.
Right.
If this wasn't sent to me,
so
this is kind of one of those studies I wouldn't bring up,
right?
In fear that people are going to hear it,
yes,
and then
make unnecessary changes and become orthorexic.
Just giving it too much weight.
Yeah. Is this trending on TikTok? This kind of shit?
Yeah.
God, I'm glad I'm not on there.